Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the EDGE Family Informational Night for middle school and high school. Tonight we have Christine Bowlby, one of our program co-lead principals, Robin Buckingham, our middle school principal, Patrick Dutcher and Tyler Laylak, our high school principals, and I am Artanya Gimmel, the other program co-lead principal. Thank you for joining us this evening. Our agenda this evening, we will do an EDGE K-12 program overview. We will talk a little bit about our two pathways, EDGE Connected and EDGE Independent. We will discuss which pathway is right for your family. We will have some frequently asked questions. And lastly, we will have an open question and answer time.
We are excited to announce in the EDGE program that based off of family feedback, we're going to be able to offer two EDGE program pathways, one of them called EDGE Connected and the other EDGE Independent. We will be explaining these pathways further this evening during the rest of our presentation. Another program change for us next year will be that all K-12 students in the EDGE program will be on the same trimester calendar. This means that students will receive progress reports or report cards 3 times a year. We hope that this change will help our families coordinate their schedules with all of their students having the same days off from school.
Good evening, everyone. In terms of the connected portion that we will be offering at EDGE, it will look very similar to what is currently happening this year with EDGE. There will be daily live sessions. Teachers will facilitate those live sessions. There will be whole group and small group, as well as one-to-one live instruction to be provided to all students. There'll be a lot of independent work opportunities, both in and out of the classroom and instructional time, as well as there'll be supported office hours within the day for each student and various needs that they may have. We plan on offering the core instruction. We're working to get music incorporated with the EDGE program, and we'll be also providing PE by proficiency through the EDGE, both independent and connected programs. Recordings of lessons will be similar to currently happening at EDGE. They will be live sessions and remain available for 10 days. As I mentioned previously, all supports for students identified as TAG, those receiving special services or English language learners will continue to receive their supports within the programs. For activities and sports and clubs, there will be opportunities to partner with residential schools, and we're currently working to develop some more opportunities for students at EDGE. Currently, though, resident schools is where athletics and clubs will reside before and after school.
For the independent pathway, instruction will be released in advance for multiple weeks worth of learning. And at this time, we are determining how many weeks of instruction we will be releasing and the pace at which students can accelerate through the content. No matter the pacing that is determined, student acceleration will be based on their demonstration of meeting standards and passing levels before moving to the next unit of learning. Instruction will be provided primarily through video recordings and independent tasks. Family will determine their schedule for completing assignments, and there will be weekly communication with the teacher. There will also be opportunities for live teacher support office hours daily. During virtual check-ins, the teacher will be able to reteach or reassign lessons or activities as needed. PE in this pathway will be provided by EDGE staff as an independent study based on the family's choice. And there will also be supports for students identified as TAG or in need of special education services or EL language supports. Same as the connected pathway, resident school, there will be opportunities for athletics and extracurricular activities as well.
So with that overview that we've given now of connected and independent, there's some choices, you know, that we can begin thinking about, that families can begin thinking about prior to choosing a pathway. And these are some of those choices on there. Also know that when you register at that point, you will not need to declare a pathway, either connected or independent. Once you register for EDGE, we will have a counselor reach out to you and then kind of talk you through what you feel is the best choice for you and your family in terms of the connected and independent. So when you register, do not feel obligated to choose at the moment, connected or independent. Know that we will have a counselor reach out to you and go over those options as well. For these connected and independent, there's some bullet points posted here of things to think about. In terms of the independent, it offers more flexibility, as Robin has just mentioned. You know, students could work at their own pace. They could choose when they logged on and did it. There still would be an attendance component to the independent portion. But in terms of the flexibility of time, it'd really be up to the student and the family regarding how they complete the coursework. Students, you know, in terms of having access to the internet, student is comfortable using computers, reading online. Students like to spend time on the computer. They can follow a schedule. Following the independent model will be a lot more self-paced, self-structured compared to the connected. And switching over the connected version, speaking of structure, the connected version will be daily with teachers. Daily attendance will be taken. Families, you know, can often support at home with students learning, we found at times. Student is comfortable using, again, computers and reading online material. And then again, it follows a more of a traditional class schedule on the connected side versus the independent.
All right, some frequently asked questions that we see that we receive from parents and families regarding how to enroll with EDGE. First one on here is, how do you register for EDGE for the next school year, for the 21-22 school year? You can do that through your Parent View account through Salem-Keizer. Another question is we get is if you've already completed your letter of intent. The EDGE program sent out some letters of intent earlier this month. People returned that thinking that was their commitment to stay at EDGE. Those were actually just a data point for our district. You still have to get into your Parent View and register for EDGE. So even though if you've done a letter of intent, you need to follow up with a registration through your Parent View. Another question we get a lot is, if we register for EDGE, then change your mind over the summer or this fall, what do you have to do? Right now, we're working on specific dates for our level directors to understand what deadlines those would be. But right now, we're working through level directors to push out that information for families that change their mind. And if you want to register for EDGE but missed the next Friday deadline, you have until next Friday to register through Parent View. If you miss that deadline, go ahead and still put in. You'll be put on a waiting list, and the district will reassess numbers. And again, we'll go back through on dates of batches if we have room to allow your student to be a part of the EDGE program.
Okay, now we will move to the portion of our Q&A session. We will answer as many questions as we can in the time allotted. If you have any additional questions, please email info@salekeiz.k12.or.us. Okay, first question. Will I be able to use Edge and still go to CTEC in person?
So I can take that question. Currently, we are going to wait on guidance from the Oregon Department of Education regarding what exactly the fall will look like. We are working, Edge is working with CTEC to try and develop a schedule that does work for CTEC students and Edge. Nothing has been finalized. We can't guarantee that it will work out as we continue to wait for guidance for what the fall will look like. And then we can see if we can make some schedules match up.
When will the schedule be released?
Robin, do you want to talk to middle school?
Yeah, so we will, once we have the enrollment settled after the 14th, we'll be able to make some determinations about staffing and scheduling. And the school counselor will be able to reach out to families. We'll get forecasting regarding elective options and choices out so that students can have some choice in the course offerings. So that will take place immediately after we get past this the May 14th deadline, within probably the next couple of weeks to conclude the month of May to early June. And then I can take the next one about orchestra and music available. That decision is in the works with district leaders, and those conversations are currently being had about what music offerings and access to music students in the Edge program will have. So as soon as we get word on that, we'll be able to communicate that.
How long after registering a student can we expect a call from the counselors to pick a path?
At the high school level, we are going to start reviewing registrations on the 17th. And so we plan on reviewing the registrations, looking at the forecasting data that comes in, and then reaching out to parents to clarify any questions as soon as possible. So by the end of May, we should start making calls.
Is Avid an option in 6th grade Edge?
And I will take that one too. So yes, Avid is an option. I would encourage your student in the 5th grade classroom to be listening for the recruitment for Avid. We do have a program at the middle level, and so that is an available option.
How many classes will students take per trimester?
I can jump in there too. At the middle level, we will have 6 classes for students to take. That will be 4 core classes and then 2 elective options.
And similar for the high school level, we plan on running a 6-period schedule is what we're working on. The reason why we're trying to match the middle school is that gives us more elective opportunities to potentially share elective teachers with the middle school, thus giving students at Edge more choice to various electives.
How does a student find out about clubs and extracurricular activities at their home school if they stay in Edge?
I can take that one. At the high school level, students still participate in an advisory. The advisory will be clustered with students from their resident school. So all resident school information will be funneled through their advisory. So any clubs, sports, or events will be part of the daily advisory announcements.
And Artanya, I can jump in on the middle level. Our current advisory is not divided up based on resident school location. However, we're getting more fluent in our partnership with the EDGE program and our resident schools, and our building partners in those schools are becoming more aware that our EDGE kids need to be included in that communication, and that they are a part of the resident community as well. So it's an ongoing partnership that we're developing and advocating for that to make sure that happens.
Okay, so I will actually have Emily, if you can answer this question for us, please. My child doesn't appear on parent view. What should I do to sign her up?
I have my little thing on here. Yes, absolutely. I actually was just typing the response to that question, so I'll read it out loud and then I will finish and publish for everybody so everyone can see in the chat as well. But if you have another student that's not in your current parent view account, when you get to during the registration process, you'll have the option to add an additional student. If you are still running into challenges with that, it'd be good to make sure that you don't inadvertently have two parent view accounts, because all children that you have in Salem-Keizer schools, regardless of if they're in the EDGE program, in a different school, they'll all be under the same parent view account. So if that's the issue that you're running into, reach out to your resident school, reach out to the EDGE program, and we'll be able to help you merge those accounts so that way all your children appear in one account. And I'm going to drop a link in the chat as well to a walkthrough video that we've completed that will show you exactly how to do that in detail.
Next question. Will AP classes be offered for high school?
Yeah, so current AP courses that we have slated to offer are AP Language and AP Literature within the Language Arts content area. The remaining AP courses will depend on forecasting at that point, but I'm confident to say that we plan to offer AP Language and AP Literature at this time.
Can students still participate in activities such as theater if doing EDGE independent?
Yeah, if you're referring to the after-school activities or as a club, yes, you can still participate with the homeschool doing those clubs and activities, even though you're in the independent pathway.
Can I add a little bit to that? If a student still wanted to do sports, I would encourage an EDGE independent student to reach out to their home school's athletic director to make sure they're staying eligible through the OSAA guidelines.
My student has forecasted for classes next year, but wasn't sure if that was for EDGE or their home school.
At this point, at the high school and the middle school levels, all of the forecasting has gone through the home school or resident school building. We will take that data when we have our list of students enrolled at EDGE and shift that our way to determine what the students' preferences are, as well as having a forecasting process based on what's offered in our school program.
Okay, I believe this was answered, but I'm going to read it again just in case I missed it. Will the student still be given the option to participate in extracurricular activities if they are in the EDGE program?
Yes, at both middle and high school, yes.
Okay, let's see. So we'll answer this question again because I believe there are some families that may have jumped on after this was answered. So when do we need to choose between self-directed versus teacher-led? So basically EDGE independent versus EDGE connected. I have 8th graders and they are currently registered for EDGE, but I don't recall making a choice specific for independent or connected.
So after the close of the May 14th deadline, you will be receiving a phone call from one of our counselors to ask this question, answer any other questions that you have about each pathway, and determine which you would like your 8th graders to participate in. If there's a change of heart and you want to switch at a different point between now and the start, we will accommodate that for sure. So in the coming weeks after the close of the deadline, then that will be asked and you'll be able to share.
Okay, next question. Will computers like this year be made available for students next year for those whose families do not have a computer yet want to remain in EDGE?
Yeah, and even one step further, our district has decided to invest in digital arts CTE programming and is working on getting industry standard MacBooks for the digital arts portions of the high school. So yes, computers will remain available for those attending EDGE.
Okay. Are you able to change EDGE paths at the semester if the independent learning does not work as well as expected for the student?
At the middle level, I've advocated for the opportunity to change even before that. If we start to see as part of our progress monitoring that it's not a great fit for the particular student, that we will accommodate the need to make sure that they're being supported in a way that they can access learning and be successful.
Okay.
Yeah, and at the high school level, similar. In terms of transcripting wise, there's some different credits that we need to make sure are taken care of prior to the transfer, but at semester, we plan on having students being able to transfer.
How are Shemeketa classes included in the independent pathway for seniors taking college Shemeketa courses?
So I can try to answer that. Shemeketa and College Now classes will, your traditional college writing, will not be offered through EDGE at this time. We will address that through an AP, a course of AP Lang and AP Lit. But if students choose to take a Shemeketa course on their own and they can find time to fit it, I mean, we would try to support that, encourage that. But through the EDGE program, we do not have any college Shemeketa classes in the program at this time.
My 6th grader entered EDGE for 6th grade and we did not know about AVIT at that time. Is there a way they can get in for 7th grade AVIT?
Absolutely. So we will begin the recruiting process very shortly once the deadline is passed. You can either reach out to me via email and put your student's name on my radar, and then I can share that with our AVID coordinator, and then we can get connected and reach out regarding that. So,
what will the days and hours be for EDGE Connected?
I can speak for the middle school and high school. We're going to follow the same schedule, and tentatively right now, those have been starting at about 8:30 classes, roughly around there. That might change a little bit one way or the other, but it'll follow a traditional school day as of right now.
And 5 days, I would add. So all 5 days.
Will there be more electives than this year? For example, will there be Spanish 3 and Spanish 4 because the student has already completed Spanish 1 and 2?
That depends on how many students forecast for those specific classes. So I can't answer that at this time. Once students register, we can know if we have students that need Spanish 3 or Spanish 4, we can work with a counselor to kind of see what we can do to get those specific classes. It depends on forecasting and how many students want those classes to build them. So for sure, Spanish 1, Spanish 2, Spanish 3, and Spanish 4 definitely depend on how many students are forecasting for those courses.
If my student is a senior, where would they graduate?
They will continue to graduate with their home school at this point. We're staying connected for various reasons. One of them is the graduation piece. So they would graduate through their neighborhood school that they're currently connected with.
Okay. Will I be able to send my student to in-person learning if I change my mind once they are in the EDGE program?
I think this goes back to kind of what Robin and I were talking about in terms of a transfer process. You know, for the high school wise with transcripting semesters is what we currently have planned now. As Robin mentioned before, through a progress monitoring system, you know, if caught at the right time, you know, students may be to re-enter. Robin, do you want to elaborate a little more on that?
So ideally, if we could, if we need to see that it's not working, we could look at a trimester shift to the building of the resident school. And if we can get, once we get outside of the pandemic related pieces at play, that may open some things up as well, just because then the cohorting and that won't be a layer of complexity.
If an elective is not offered on EDGE, but is offered at your home school, could you do both?
At this time, there isn't an option to do both between the resident school and EDGE. But maybe outside, maybe in the future there, we may look at something like a partnership like that. Again, that can get a little bit to the pandemic pieces as well.
At the high school level,
Sorry.
we would look at you know, trying to fulfill that elective maybe through our EDGE independent first, and then we would probably work through maybe having an SKO elective option. But at this time, we do not have, we're the same as the middle school. We do not offer in-building and EDGE electives.
I too am trying to do both CTech and EDGE, but also it seemed I had to sign up at our local school. How do I know for sure who has our registration?
If you register through Parent View and then check in with your home school, they should be able to notify how you're registered, if I'm answering that correctly.
Okay, so kind of going along the lines with that, how does EDGE Independent work with CTech? Is transportation still offered? Or also what was asked too, could students attend CTech and EDGE?
So currently right now, again, we're waiting for the ODE guidance to come out in the summer regarding what the fall looks like for numbers of students in a building. That kind of depends on CTech and what a schedule could look like with CTech. That's what we're currently kind of waiting for. As of right now, with CTech and EDGE, we would look to fill those through the independent model if you're going to do CTech and EDGE versus the connected. But again, that's still to be determined a little bit there, but we would look to support the independent model and CTech first.
What will PE look like in the EDGE program?
At the middle level, we will have a connected option where it's a synchronous live session for students to engage in the PE activity. And we will also have an independent option as well. And potentially a course that could be written based on the family's preferences or needs.
And currently at the high school level, we are going to move towards PE by proficiency, which would follow more of the independent model of EDGE. And students would have modules to work with, to complete workouts and exercises, and then have a teacher of record that would grade and review and give feedback via the independent model.
And can I add a little bit to that?
Yeah.
Somebody on a PE by proficiency can also meet these requirements if they're part of a dance. If they class, or if they do gymnastics, or if they do a sport at their home school, or if they're part of marching band, they can meet the PE by proficiency requirements.
If we don't sign up for EDGE, would we be automatically put back into our resident schools?
Yes, that is correct. When you register through the registration process, if you do not click the EDGE box within the registration process, you will be registered at your neighborhood school.
For Edge Connected, will there be more than one bell schedule?
I think,
Robin, you and I can both
yeah.
take that.
yeah. We will be looking at the, I'm losing my words here, the needs of our families, and asking that question across our families to see what the need is for multiple bell schedules or one.
That would be something too, to reach out when the counselor reaches out to you, to notify them if you are interested in what the schedule options are, and we could maybe come up a plan that way too.
How will IEP accommodations be handled in Edge?
So through the IEP process and the IEP team, they'll best determine what the needs are for the student, and between the teaching staff and the families, as well as the service providers, we will come up with a plan that serves your student in a virtual environment.
If you're new to the district and going into the 7th grade, when will you be able to pick your electives?
So once our May 14th deadline is passed, our counselors will be reaching out to learn where we should be sharing the forecasting sheet for you to choose electives, and that process will begin right away. So as we conclude May and as we enter the month of June, you can be expecting that.
Okay, I will go ahead and take this question. Edge is not a requirement. It is an educational option for your family. So if schools are open and you decide that you want to go to a traditional school building, you will also go through the registration process. And when you do that, do not select Edge, and you will automatically be at your resident school. Okay.
Tanya,
Yes.
if it would be helpful, I just pulled open a screenshot of the registration part where you select Edge. Would that be helpful to show on the screen
Yes.
for everybody?
Sure, that would be great. Thank you, Emily.
So this is what it will look like during the registration process. When you get to this student step, so almost towards the very end of your registration process, you'll have this option for your Edge decision, and you can choose, yes, I would like my student to participate in the Edge program, or no, and then you'll date that. And if you're done by the 14th, next Friday, you would be in the Edge program for 2021-22.
Thanks, Emily. Okay, can someone explain what AVID is?
I can take that. AVID stands for Advancement via Individual Determination, and it is a program that builds opportunity and capacity in our students to access college and a plan after high school. Its focus is on building community within the AVID class, and there's AVID opportunity all the way up from beginning in 6th grade all the way up through 12th grade. And one really exciting thing about the Edge program is we're actually having conversations about initiating our AVID program into the 5th grade, 4th grade, and so on in the coming years. But the key is accessing college and the steps that it takes to develop the thinking skills to be a successful student.
Real quick, a little bit back, there was a question around CTEC transportation. If CTEC is an option for a student and we can work that out within the Edge program, the same transportation option from their home school would probably still be available.
Okay, so will Edge Independent be taught by Salem-Keizer public school teachers or a recorded program?
Edge Independent will be taught by middle level Edge teachers that are in our program. So accessing an equitable content and curriculum and instruction in an independent way is kind of staple for the model. Tyler, did you have, or Pat, did you have something to add for the high school?
Yeah, I can add to the high school. This is something that we're actually really excited about with our independent model that would be different from other options. The independent model will be taught by high school teachers, through their Canvas. We're trying to get away from your traditional online curriculum through lessons created by teachers, given by teachers, and recorded by teachers. It's something that we're excited to offer for students through Edge Independent as well.
Okay, so for middle schoolers who are going to be on the Edge Independent, so it kind of goes along with this, how often will this oversight teacher be in touch with our kids? Is there an oversight teacher for each period or classes? Can you explain a little bit more how the independent would work at the middle and high school level with connection with kids?
Yeah, so at the middle level, we have assigned teachers a section and given teachers a pocket of time for each of their sections. So it's not combined with another instructional class at that time, which will allow them to devote that hour or pocket of time to reaching out to the students in that section. The other piece, sorry, Artanya, can you repeat the second part of that?
Well, is there like a teacher for each class period or each subject?
Yes, so a teacher may teach an independent section of Science 6, but they also likely teach a connected section of Science 6. So we're kind of bridging that gap to make sure that the instruction is equitable across both pathways. And they will be able also, to connect with the teacher during their office hours each day, during that pocket of time when they have the scheduled class in the schedule. And then also teacher will be reaching out at a minimum once a week.
Okay.
Sorry, it was kind of a jumbled answer.
You're good. So curriculum wise, for all three options, in person at your resident school, Edge Independent or Edge Connected, is that 100% identical?
At the high school level, we're working with our curriculum department to match curriculums for transcripting purposes and also for equitable practices throughout the district. Yes, we are trying to match what the resident school's curriculum is.
And same at the middle school, we will follow the district curriculum maps and ensure that if there is a student that moves from one program to the other, that they can do that as seamlessly as possible.
Okay, Tyler, this one is for you that you'll answer live. On the high school curriculum list, it shows only Japanese 2. Is Japanese 1 also available through Edge?
I'm not sure exactly what curriculum list you're looking at. I can tell you Edge currently does not offer Japanese, and it's not forecasted to be an option for next year in the schedule.
How is Edge Independent different than SK Online?
SK Online is a program done through homeschools that they're making more of a shift there to help fill electives. Edge Independent is for somebody who wants a full online experience to come in and do a program at their own pace, taught by teachers and Salem-Keizer School District through a platform that they're currently using in Canvas. SK Online is more of a option where it's done through an Edgenuity course, where it's an online curriculum. And So so a student who wanted to be a full-time SKO student would, in a sense, be a full-time Edge independent student now.
How long will Edge be offered?
Indefinitely right now. The plan is to keep it going and to keep building. So the more we get people to register, the more course offerings we can have and build a more robust program for the whole Salem-Keizer School District.
Hopefully forever is what we're trying to say. Hopefully forever.
Okay, so if we enroll in Edge and later discover a desired elective is not offered, can we take that elective through Chemeketa and receive Edge credit?
Pat, do you want to take that one?
And so if a student takes a class through Chemeketa and has worked through the curriculum administrator to get approval for what class they would like to identify the credit for, just like in a homeschool situation, as long as we do the front end work to decide what the class is and what the student is hoping to accomplish with by taking that class, we will, since Chemeketa isn't an accredited institution, we will be more than happy to take that credit as a high school credit.
Okay, so I will go ahead and take this question. Will Edge confirm with families that they are indeed registered for next year prior to May 14th? Our counselors, once the registration is closed or the deadline happens after May 14th, is when school counselors will start to reach out to families who have enrolled in the Edge program. So no, we will not confirm prior to the May 14th deadline, but you can always call and check to see if your registration has gone through your resident school, or you can call Edge. Okay, so can you show how to add another student to the Edge program when they don't appear on parent view? And it looks like Emily is typing this answer. So Emily, do you want to just share and then we can type it in?
Yes, absolutely. So we're probably not gonna be able to show that here, but I am gonna post this link in the chat. About 8 minutes into the video link that I'm gonna post, it shows you exactly how to add your additional student into the registration process. But again, if you have any challenges with that process, you can contact the Edge program and they'd be happy to assist you with that process individually.
Okay, will United programs be offered through Edge?
So currently, unified programs are not offered at Edge. It is something that I know our student services and teachers are looking into. Right now, I wouldn't say that we're offering them, but it's something that we'll continue to try and explore and offer.
Can I jump in and add one more piece to that? I just wanted to do a little plug that they are looking for both athletes and partners for the unified summer programs as well. So if you do want your Edge student to participate in that, I believe that you would be able to sign your student up for participating in the unified summer programs as well.
Is there a site online where we can look at a comparison between the Edge Independent and Edge Connected? Is there a description of the type of student that would thrive in one program or the other?
I'm going to jump in here again. That's a great suggestion. That is something that we are currently working on, and we will work on getting that up hopefully next week for you guys, because that's a great suggestion and something that we are working on as well.
Is the bilingual program an option for Edge?
At the middle level, we currently don't have a bilingual program option.
Same for the high school.
Will special needs classes still be offered to students through Edge? Will they have connected or independent options?
So for the secondary level, yes, all of the above. We'll still work on inclusive opportunities for students, but at the same time, we'll meet the best needs of the students based on the IEP and develop a program that is appropriate for them.
So for the high school and middle school level, once again, can you guys explain if a student is interested in AVID in the EDGE program, what steps would they take?
The recruitment for AVID should be going out just in the next couple of weeks. In the resident school, if they're currently attending a building, they'll be getting that same messaging. If they are at EDGE, we will be rolling out the recruitment for AVID in the program as well. So I would just stay tuned to the communication for recruiting for AVID. And even if you're in the middle level and you're interested, send me an email of the student's name and I can make sure that that student's name is forwarded to our AVID coordinator.
And I will echo the same for the high school level. EDGE is lucky enough to have a AVID coordinator that works with our 6 through 12 students. So if a student is currently in EDGE and is considering the AVID program, please forward that student's name to either Tyler or myself, and we can get that to our AVID coordinator. If they're currently in a building as well, it's springtime recruiting for the AVID program, so they can go ahead and apply and go through the interview process that way. The AVID program has made a decision that if a student is accepted at their home school, we will honor that in any Salem-Keizer school that they are in. So if they get accepted and they're at Stevens, if they get accepted and they're at West Salem High School, we will honor that at EDGE.
All right, so will there be a list of course, an accurate list of course offerings posted soon?
So what we're waiting for at the high school is we're waiting for students that feel like the independent or connected option is the best fit. And once we see registration, we will pull their forecasting and determine what courses we can offer within the schedule. So we are waiting until we see registration, and then we can look at those students who have registered, what classes they're interested in.
All right. Will there be help or support available for students in the EDGE independent program?
So one of the things about the EDGE independent program is, although the instruction is independent and it's via video, we are at least at the middle level, I have designated pockets of time for our students to be able to access their teachers who are teaching those videos. And our teachers will also have office hours to provide support when in need. Also, a regular expectation will be that the teachers do reach out to our students at a minimum once a week and monitor student progress in the independent pathway.
And that the same for the high school too. Echo what Robin said. Teachers will have office hours as well as designated check-in times when they can meet with students or families to reach out to them. Again, attendance would be required. There'd be a weekly component, and staff will reach out to students who they feel need some more support.
Okay, thank you. Can you go over this one more time, please? If I start in the EDGE independent program, can I switch to EDGE connected? Or if I start in EDGE connected, can I switch to EDGE independent?
At the middle level, I've advocated that the pathways are semi-fluid, in that if we see that a student is struggling in independent pathway and is in need of more connection and synchronous support or live session-based support, I want to make sure that that student gets that the pathway that's going to best suit their needs. So yes, there can be some movement across the pathways.
Yeah. Same for 9 through 12.
Okay, so and can you answer this question, please, just as a refresher? Will students learning through EDGE Independent Pathway, will they be available to answer student questions about the material?
Yes, it's an intentional scheduling with teachers that they are accessible to our students in the independent pathway. And there's a designated pocket of time for independent teachers teaching independent courses to be able to support students, to be accessible to students for questions on content or needs for support.
All right, so can you talk a little bit about elective offerings and options and how you will be determining that for the secondary level for middle and high school?
Yeah, so for the high school level, we currently plan on offering art, business, computer science, culinary, and a foreign language. The specific courses within those electives are to be determined by who registers and what they forecasted for. But we do plan to offer electives. In addition, there may be some other electives within the content areas that become available throughout the trimester.
And at the middle level, we're looking at digital arts electives, some computer electives, STEM, and potentially some others. And as Tyler mentioned previously, we're looking at sharing some staff across our electives team to help provide more elective options. In addition, there will also be a 8th grade high school Spanish credit course that will be a year-long elective option for our 8th graders to take.
So will EDGE classes sometimes be taught in person or have some in-person learning opportunities with their EDGE teachers like some electives this year?
In terms of our connected option, that would be the connected option for EDGE, if I'm understanding that question correctly. The independent, there'll still be options for in-person, but not as a class. It'd be more as an individual to where you could meet with your teacher during office hours or a designated time.
Okay, and this will be our last question as we are wrapping up for the evening. Can you talk a little bit about how students can forecast for high school and middle school?
Tyler, I didn't know if you were going to go first. At the middle level, once the May 14th deadline is passed, we will have our counseling team initiate contact with each family who's enrolled, and then we will roll out the forecasting process. That will happen toward the end of May, early June. And then we will be able to get course offerings and all of that with the forecasting data that we receive.
And most students have already forecasted. Those that haven't, just like Robin said, when the counselor reaches out, they'll know. They'll make sure that the student forecasts at that point in time, and then we'll take that information and look to build a schedule from there.
Okay, well, thank you, panelists, this evening for answering our questions that we had in the chat. This webinar this evening is recorded, so it will be posted for families and community members to access in case you've missed part of the presentation or you wanted to see the presentation again. It is recorded and we will have it posted so that you'll be able to review it again. So just a few reminders before we end our evening. First, I want to say thank you so much for joining us tonight. Our EDGE registration support events will be happening next week, May 11th and May 12th. So that's next Tuesday and Wednesday from 6 p.m. to 8 p.m. at Salem-Keizer Public Schools Career and Technical Education Center, or otherwise known as CTEC, at 3501 Portland Road Northeast. The deadline to register for EDGE is Friday, May 14th. Once again, Thank you for coming out this evening, and we will see you soon.